Venturing into the cave, the reflection found a pile of bone and sharp teeth. As he approached it, it formed into a tall skeletal beast. "Go no further. There is nothing for you here, reflection," the skeletal form rattled. "But I wish to keep going and see for myself," replied the reflection. "Then you will have to get past me," roared the beast. The reflection threw the severed bat's head at the skeleton, causing it to crash and fall apart. He then swiftly used the wolf's tail to sever them more. Once the task was complete, he gathered the bones and put them into a sack, then continued onward. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Spooktacular 2021. I'm your host, Rodimus13, and today we are looking at Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Paleotrex. That fool Rodimus13 already threw the box away, so we're going to have to get started like this. We'll just dive right into it, with it on our fancy turntable. As we can see, it looks like a lovely pile of bones in the shape of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Quite impressive, you ask me. The coloration of it really does have that look of real fossilization. Or perhaps it has the look of rotting bones. It has that brownish, almost a little bit of a tinge of yellow to it, like bones that have been left out in the sun for too long. Articulation on this is actually quite nice, with what effectively amounts to universal hips, a hinge joint for the knee, ankle, the tail can move a little bit, head can go up and down, and even the jaw can open. The neck can't bend forward, which is somewhat unfortunate, but it works pretty well. The arms are even on little ball socket joints, allowing a little bit of posability with them as well. Overall, it's a very impressive form for what it is. Now, this thing is a transformer, but it's not quite a transformer like you saw before. This thing does what most would call parts forming. So let's get down to that, and then we'll take a look at its robot mode. Yes. And here it is in its robot mode. It's quite an interesting process, disassembling and then reassembling the figure to get it from one mode to another. It can be somewhat enjoyable if you are into that sort of action. It's a bit comparable to, say, a construction toy such as Legos or Gunpla. Coloration remains the same, though you do have some extra splashes of color. The purple Predacon symbol is more prominent, and you now have yellow eyes piercing out at you. An interesting feature this figure has is a flip-up mask, revealing a face. It's somewhat similar to Nightbird, if you ask me. But I quite like this sort of throwback to the original Beast Wars battle mode mutant heads. The design is now somewhat asymmetrical, with a larger shoulder armor here, but still mostly symmetrical. His tail becomes a weapon, which is somewhat boring, but at least they found a use for it instead of just having you toss it aside. And posability is actually quite impressive for what it is. Waist articulation, neck, little bit of up and down movement there, shoulders, elbows, even wrists to a degree, and of course you have knee and a sort of semblance of an ankle tilt, but way far too up to be of great use. But with all this, you can create some rather dynamic poses if you so wish. Overall, it's a very impressive figure. One that I'm certain others would enjoy having in their collection. Let's go ahead and do some comparisons to other figures. So first, here it is next to a standard deluxe. This is Siege Ironhide. As you can see, it's somewhat shorter than him. Then for those who are more familiar with Gunpla, here it is next to a standard HG 144 scale Gunpla. This is the Age 1 normal. They're actually not too far different from height, though this one is a little bit bulkier. And I suppose the one that's most pertinent to this situation, here it is next to Transmutate, which is a remold and repaint of this bot. Now, this is configured slightly differently, so that it has a semblance of the gun arm. As you can see, they share all the same parts with the exception of the head, and then everything is just painted differently. It's quite interesting seeing these two together. Now, if one wishes, they can disassemble this figure and use it as weapons for other figures. Most prominent is this. You can actually pull the head and I suppose part of the spine out. And now it is like the battle mace that the original Optimus Primal had in the first Beast Wars line. As you can see, you can just put it in their hand and then they can beat people to death with a skull. Quite violent. I like it. So yes, as I said, this is an impressive figure, one that I think many people should enjoy. So, that has been my review. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those fine YouTube manipulations. Check the description below for links to the storefront where you can get official Shelf Space t-shirts and more. And yes, thank you again, and I will see you the next time you invade my Shelf Space.